Hello. Yeah, I still need a bigger picture. It's still not working, and plus it's dark, so I should have the dark themed photograph in the background. And yeah, I'm just intoxicated, so I may seem low energy, but I'm probably low energy on top of being intoxicated. But I haven't spoken on here since the 4th, so it's been a while. And well, my train is going in the background. But anyways, yeah, as far as getting medical attention for the infection that I had in me nethers, uh, oddly enough, it seems to be getting better on its own. It's like Saturday I had no pain at all, and then Sunday I was disappointed to find a return of pain, and today I had some pain, but it doesn't seem to be getting worse. I did make an attempt uh, to get a new doctor, which I called my care source manager and told her, like, she wanted me to call her right away and tell her how the other doctor went. I didn't, because I just didn't. So, I told her how it went, and it's like I need a new doctor that doesn't, you know, have doctor's aides or what are those guys? Whatever those physician's assistant guys that overstep their bounds and hurt patients and stuff. I would prefer one of those. And she recommended somebody, but she's like, I'm going to look into it and see if they're accepting any patients right now. I'll call you back. Now, that was Thursday. And yeah, she hasn't called me back. Now, Thursday was an interesting day because I think the last time I spoke on here was the 4th, and election day was the 3rd. I know that was a Tuesday. The 4th was a Wednesday. And yeah, so I stayed up too late on election night, and it kind of like translated over into the next night. And then bright and early, 8 o'clock in the morning, the aid worker agency gave me a wake up call and told me, like, yeah, your aid worker that usually comes in the afternoon so you can sleep in. We gotta switch you to somebody at 9:30. But the morning worked out actually really smooth. It was my favorite aid worker, the only one that I really like, and she actually cleaned up. Like, she said, at first I asked her, I'm like, I need somebody to do that, and I know you guys aren't supposed to work outside the house. And after she got back, she had some time left over. And she's like, "What do you want picked up out back there?" And I'm like, "Aren't you not supposed to do that?" And she says, "I don't care." So she went back there, and she's not a young person either, and picked up all this stuff and all these old boxes because I was trying to throw boxes out of there, and they would land right side up instead of sideways. So they make a little shelter for the cat in question because there's two cats out there that I seem to be responsible for. I only wanted to be responsible for the one. And a third cat that gloms in there from time to time. But anyway, so that was cool. I had the smooth aid worker, and everything went well with that. And then I had her get the rest of my rent money, and then I called the landlord up. Didn't have to wait around for his stupid ass, or like make an appointment for the next day. He was like, "Yeah, I could be there within the hour." So I got that done lickety split, and I got 3 months rent paid in advance, and I have enough money to get through the month without no problem, even if I don't sell cards. So yeah, everything went really smooth except for the fact that my sleep got disrupted. So I slept in the afternoon and had trouble sleeping ever since. But that's just the boring, um, you know, details of life in general. As far as like where my mental state is like, I'm in a fucking weird place. Because today, like, I don't know how long I liked this girl in school, but this is the first girl that I remember liking. I never searched for anybody on the internet or anything like that. And I used to know, like, what house she lived in because I went to this school called St. Joan of Arc that was a Catholic school. And I would watch her, she'd ride the same bus with me, and I'd watch her get off and go up, you know, to the same house all the time. And then, like, later on, when I got older, I like just wanted to find the house, and I couldn't find the house. I'm like, did they remodel the house? Because it was very distinctive. I can still see a mental picture of it in my head. It's like they must have remodeled it. Maybe it caught fire and burned down. Maybe she was a secret pyromaniac. Nobody knows. But anyways, I know the street it was on, and it's like that's 8 years. You go to you don't have like middle school when you go to Catholic school. You have grades 1 through 8, at least back in the day, and then 9 through 12. 1 through 8 was grade school. 9 through 12 was high school. There was no middle school. Um, there was like Edison, Pfeiffer, and Perry were the public schools around here. I only went to Perry. I think I might have went to Pfeiffer was the really young kids. Then the middle school was Edison. I think I might went to Edison briefly, and then Perry was the high school, and that's like grades 10 through 12, something like that. I don't know. It's just different. Everything is different about Catholic school. Um, so, anyways, I'm sitting there trying to look up this girl because I don't even remember when I started liking this girl. It's like it was the first girl that I liked that I can remember liking. I don't remember when I started liking her. I liked her for that long, and we went to school together for 9 years, and yeah, and I was like looking up. I was trying to like just look up a yearbook from um, high school, and there was like classmates.com. And anyways, I was doing all this nonsense, and yeah, that's kind of where my head's at. It's a very strange place. Yeah, that's just remorse coming out in some kind of way. I think I pretty well remember what she looks like, but I was curious, like, if my memory matched, you know. So I pretty much remember what she looks like after however many years that what it's been. Oh, a mere uh, 37 since the last time I saw her. Um, it was funny though that I looked up this site, and I I should have figured it. This kid went to Ohio State, but he was this Spanish kid that was my buddy, but only because he was like one of the few kids my age in the neighborhood, and his family um, would speak Spanish all the time, and I couldn't understand a damn word they were saying. But his name's Romero Lamas, and I remember him, and I found him, but I didn't find no picture. But I was like, I don't know that guy. But they had like a list of alumni from Central Catholic of the years 1982 to 1986. They had other people mixed in there, but those are the years that I would have went if I would have had a normal life. Um, but anyways, so yeah, my head's not in a very good place, and yeah, I had a weird incident happen on Sunday because, like I said, my sleep's been disrupted, and I don't like. I've heard of people like taking Ambien, like that was Roseanne's excuse for her inflammatory tweet, was she was on Ambien and mixed it with alcohol. Like I don't care, people can say whatever they want as far as I'm concerned. It's like I wouldn't. I think it's stupid that people get upset over stuff. You know what happened? First Amendment, free speech, whatever. But anyways, um, yeah, I did something that might have been similar to that, except for I had cookies on the bed, and I think I breathed in cookie dust, and like aspirated cookie dust and got it in my lungs somehow. Because I don't remember eating the goddamn cookies, but I remember having the cookies on the bed. Now, I didn't do a cookie count because there wasn't that many in the container. But um, I start like coughing. I can't stop coughing. It's like 6 o'clock on Sunday morning. And I'm drinking water, and then I'm drinking my Lanta. And then, I'm like, nothing's stopping this. It's like I'm getting all this acid, reflux type stuff coming up. And then I'm like, well, the hell with this, man. It's like I can't stop coughing. It's like maybe I need to puke or something like that. So I run water in the kitchen sink, and it's not even a real puke. I managed to puke, but it wasn't even like a real puke. That wasn't the issue. I think the issue was I breathed in cookie dust because I ate a cookie incorrectly because I was stoned. So no more food on the bed for me. Um, but anyways, it, like I said, my life is mind-numbingly boring. Doesn't belong on the internet. It doesn't belong in life in general. It doesn't belong connected to the human race. It contributes nothing as far as I can tell. So it's just stupid. It's a stupid life. My throat is still tore up. I mean, it's Monday evening here, and my throat is still tore up from yesterday. But I was getting all kind of like acid coming up too, man. It was crazy, and it was just bad. And then when it finally, I just wanted to go to sleep, man. I was like, man, fuck this. And so I went to sleep, and I slept until like 2 in the afternoon or something like that. And I watched football, and I've been trying to wear my partial plates, which I tried to wear them earlier, but I didn't put enough the poly grip or whatever in them. Because I find out if you get too much, then it's stuck in your face and you can't get it out. You see, the first time I tried wearing my dentures, it's like that's when I got all sick. As I first tried wearing them on Saturday, and I've worn them Saturday, Sunday, and now worn them Monday for as long as I can stand them. I take them out to eat. I don't put them in to eat. I take them out to eat because I ate with them once, and once was enough. I just have to get my, I sit there and go try to get my um, gums desensitized or used to them. Just get used to them in my face. But today I didn't put in enough polygrip because I was afraid that eating the polygrip's what made me sick. And I just happened to be like coughing up chocolate cookies. I don't know. I don't know. That stuff's hard to get out of your mouth. I know that. Um, but anyways, yeah, this is yeah, I got more unpleasantness going on today, and yeah, I'm not gonna go into it, but it's fucking horrible. Uh, who you want to hear about all my physical woes and issues? It's ridiculous. Uh, but yeah, that's kind of like weird. Like I can't figure out. It's like I breathed in cookie dust. It was like I was working, taking asbestos out of a ceiling, except for the asbestos was cookies, and I didn't have my mask on and I accidentally breathed it in. It was horrifying, man. It was like I just couldn't stop coughing. It was just coughing chocolate cookies. So I may not like chocolate cookies anymore. I may be spoiled off of them for life. So, anyways, now today, uh, in keeping with my general pattern of just bizarre luck, uh, the 8 agency calls, I think they're calling about tomorrow because I don't know, that's my day. They never come on any day but Mondays, or any day but Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, I already ruined the story, of course, but they call me today and they're like, well, your usual aid worker is not going to be able to work tomorrow. She called off, but if you need something, I can get this other person. I'm like, that's fine. And she's like, fine. she doesn't mention that she's sending them over immediately. She's like, I can send them over, and I'm like, I can send over so and so. And she doesn't say, like, I can send them over now or I can send them over today. So I'm just sitting around here, and this woman's pounding on the door. And I had heard road noises like earlier in the day, but I was like, oh, cool, because my prescriptions for buying them is due to be filled today, so I can at least have her get my prescription. So I was like, oh, that's kind of good. I can do that, and I can run her to maybe get a couple of cans of cat food or something, you know. But she comes in and she's like, yeah, I can't stay here. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I can't stay here because they won't let me park in the street because they're getting ready to pave the street. So they rescheduled my aid worker to coincide exactly with when they are laying down asphalt on my street. So, I watched them out the window yelling at somebody else to like, they're like we're like on a loudspeaker, like, you can't park there. We're about to pave the street, and they have like little markers up. They had little markers up by then. They didn't have markers up when my aid worker was here, but I was trying to explain to my aid worker, but I wasn't getting anywhere. That like, look, man, the drugstore. I just need to go to the drugstore. The drugstore is so close. I can, if I was an army sniper, I could climb on top of this building and shoot somebody in the parking lot. And I don't even have to be a good army sniper, just the average one. That's how close this place is. You could be there, you could be back in 5 minutes. She's like, well, I can't park on the street because they told me that they would have my car towed. And I'm like, you can park in that driveway across the street. And she's like, I can't park in that driveway because I'm not getting my car towed. And I'm like, if I really wanted to push it, I could be like, well, I could walk across the street, stand there, or I can sit on this person's porch over there in the alley, and then you can pick up my prescription. You can drop it off to me in the alley, and I'll figure stuff out from there. you know, because I'm thinking all she got to do is like go through a drive-through. It's not going to take that long. I mean, they're not going to pave the street like immediately within like 15 minutes. It's only going to take 15 minutes for you to pick the pills up. And it turned out like she was actually right because they paved the street like really quick. So she, unless she was like there's only like two people in line, she wouldn't have been able to get back here before the street got paved. Because I was just like, park across the street. You don't have to park on the street. Just park in one of people's parking lots across the street. And then you can, walk the stuff over. She's like, no. She wasn't hearing none of it. But, I've walked on freshly paved street before. And, you just get tar on your shoes. Or I've ridden a bicycle. That's not a good idea, riding a bicycle on freshly laid down asphalt. It's not a good idea. Um, but I don't know how that would have worked out. But it's like I was like whatever, and she wanted me to sign a paper because she wanted credit for showing up to do nothing. You know, for because she wanted credit for the time driving there, I guess. Then she wouldn't shut up because she's the cartoon character lady that you can't talk to because it will lead to a whole lot of this. Because like me, she lives alone, and yeah, it's just like you can't get her started. And I'm like, I gotta go. I got food in the bedroom that I was eating. I was like, I wasn't expecting you. I gotta go finish that food. She's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I gotta go eat that food now. And she's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then finally I just like turned my back on her, walked away from her. And then like the front door and the bedroom door shut like almost simultaneously. I was like, goodbye, put place name here. And I went back to eating this ridiculous thing that I ate, which was a smoked salmon on a bagel with cream cheese. I thought about like just giving it to the cats, but maybe they wouldn't like smoked salmon. You know, maybe the fact that it was smoked would have turned them off to it because they're not starving. They're rather fat, actually. The weather here has been freaking beautiful. It's like, as far as throwing the cats out, Betty, who was worried about me, like, throwing the cat out in the cold. Honey, it is, it's been 70. It's like crazy warm here. So, Ohio winter is like hard to predict. So he's been out for like 2 months. And sorry about, the honey thing, by the way. But yeah, he's, not only is he fine, he's just sitting out there chilling. It's like I'm looking out the window at him and he's just laying in the grass, like sleeping. He didn't even bother taking shelter or anything like that. Getting highs in the 60s and the 70s and almost mid November here. So it's been crazy warm. And yeah, but that was just weird today. That was just like, you got to be kidding me. Because that means I won't probably have an aid worker for tomorrow. I may not have an aid worker until Thursday the 12th. So that means if my prescription ended on the 6th, that would be the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. That would be 6 days. That means my prescription would be 6 days late as far as getting picked up, 3 days late as far as being filled. Because you got to figure, if it's ending on the 6th and it's getting filled on the 9th, that's at least 2.5 days that you're without your pills. I'm rounding it up to 3. Because if you go through withdrawal, you always round up. Um, but I'm not. It's not like I'm going through withdrawal, but I feel kind of cheated because I went through a lot of work to save up extra pills, and now my extra pills are getting used up because of the drugstore screw up, and now like this nonsense today, nonsense probably coming tomorrow. They might be able to substitute somebody for me tomorrow. I don't know. Uh, I tried walking last night, and my knee blowed up like it's blowed up like crazy. But I was like, I'm not breathing too good, and I just need to move around. I'm like, my body is not working too good in a general way. It's like I need more exercise. I got to try to walk, but every time I walk to try to, make my bowels work better, make myself breathe better, it makes my knee blow up, and my knee's horrible. And my foot also happens to be swollen really weird today. So it's like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't type of deal. It's a rock in a hard place and a bucket of glass over here. It's no good, man. Any way you look at it, it's no good. It all hinges upon the knee and getting the knee fixed. And like, as you know, Omni Orthopedics rejected me. I'm trying to get something going with my aid worker, but then I had the testicular conflagration, and that had me freaked out big time. And it had me freaked out so bad that I had an appointment that was a tele appointment that I made with you remember the Brent guy that was the case manager that was supposed to help me move. I got a new one, and I said that her last name is a euphemism for the female sex organ. So yeah, who says that anyway? They always say the male organ, but they don't ever say the female organ. I wonder why that is. I don't know. I'm not going to ponder that too long. But anyways, the point is, like, I had an appointment with her that was a tele appointment, but I didn't get no warning like ahead of time. They usually give you a warning, and I didn't have any warning phone call, and my mind was preoccupied with all this, like, oh shit, no orthopedics. I got a new problem. I got this problem. I got problems, and so I forgot all about it. And then, like, I was like, oh shit, I missed that tele appointment. And then, like, I didn't call her back. I think it was for the 6th, whatever day the 6th was. That would make it Friday. I don't know. I think it was for the 6th. But she said she was coming to Maslin on the 11th. I don't know if she is planning on paying me a visit in person, and shaking hands with all the roaches or whatever. I don't know, you know. Uh, speaking of the roach problem has really gotten out of hand. So I've been waiting. I have like that effective, some of it left anyway, not very much, but that a very effective poison to put down is to take it back to the nest type poison. And it knocks them back, for a while, and then they've been coming back because, I don't know, I have a feeling somebody else around here has them. And, anyways, but I don't want to put it down before I get the bathroom cleaned. And I want the big woman to clean the bathroom, but the woman's been calling off from work constantly. So I've been getting replacements for like, you know, 3 times in a row I've had replacements. And I don't want to make a replacement do the job that she should have been doing, because of course she's the one that was, I had a talk with the one that I liked, and I was like, she should be fired. And I was like, because she was lying to me about that. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, it's lying if you're implying something and you understand that the person is inferring something that isn't true. You can lie that way, which I explained, like I asked her, like, look, when are you guys going to start working again? And if she says, I don't know, the only implication is that they're not allowed to work. So, you know, through implication, she's lying. She's allowing me to infer from her implication an untruth. So, yeah. And infer is one of them infuriating words. It's a very infuriating word because it can be used either way. Because people get implication and inference confused. It's like flammable and inflammable mean the same thing. To infer can mean the same thing either way. But if, I only use an inference as juxtaposed to implication. Now I'm getting really boring and into pedanticism. But, like if I said, uh, hmm, uh, I have no examples. Okay, I have no examples. Anyways, if I implied something like, I think this happened, and then you draw a conclusion from it. You are inferring something from what I said that was not explicitly said, but people can call that an inference and flip that around and say what I said was an inference. Well, you were inferring this, not you were implying this. Now that you are thoroughly bored out of your goddamn skull, let's move on. And anything that I say from here on out, I'm sure will be damn riveting. So I talked to my brother, and it's kind of funny, but I was like, I owe the dude $100. Okay, this other person owes me a whole bunch of money, and they know they owe me a whole bunch of money, so I don't bother them about it because they popped up out of the blue and they were like, "Oh, I'll pay you 300," but 300 turned into 200. And I was like, "Well, just pay it to this guy because I owe this guy 300, which means I still owe this guy, being my brother, $100." And I was like, "Well, why don't you get the card, this food card that has like $539 worth of groceries on it, and you can buy up to $200 worth of groceries on there. I don't care. They're gonna actually raise what they're gonna put on it. They're gonna put another like $200 on there this month anyway, so it doesn't matter." He was like, "Yeah, but I'd rather have the cash." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't know why I have to explain this to you, but food costs money. It will cost you money to buy food regardless. So to you, the food credits are as good as money. As a matter of fact, it's better than money because I only owe you $100, but I don't care if you spend up to $200." I was like, man, I was trying to encourage him. I try to be a good brother. Try to encourage him and say, like, look, man, just go crazy. Just buy something you wouldn't ordinarily buy. Buy yourself some snacks or buy yourself some something you ordinarily, treat yourself. Just, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Food is not my problem. I have a billion problems. Food ain't one of them. So he was like, well, ordinarily I don't like to do that. He's like, but it'd be cool to go in there and not have to worry about spending exactly $100, maybe $108, or going over a little bit, like $108, $112, or something like that. I do remember he said $108. I'm like, oh, you're missing the point. Again, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. Um, yeah. So that might work out for the best because the other person is, I'm not getting any money for the food. But this, if the card ends up in my brother's hands, he gets used to using it. I might get some money for the extra food due to the COVID thing that they're giving me that I don't need. So, you know, and like I said, he's very poor. He actually needs help. They had like the food banks open there for a while. He could have applied for food credits. I sent him links to do it, but it's my brother, so he does what he does, and it doesn't usually make a whole lot of sense to me. It makes sense to him. I let him be him, and yeah. But he could have applied and got like more food credits. I guess we'll call them food stamps. They're not really stamps anymore. EBT. I think I don't know what they call them, but the EBT cards. It's like he could have just applied for that online, and when we had the lockdown crisis here, because he's living like way below, you know. Um, yeah, but yeah, yeah, he's his own person. I got something to drink here. See, I was smart this time. Sorry, I already tried to do a video, but I didn't like it because, yeah, I was not making a whole lot of sense. I don't know if I'm making any sense now, but I have a feeling I'm making more sense. But anyway, that's about it. I don't really have nothing else going on. I don't really want to draw this out too long. I mean, I can talk a little bit about the political situation, which anybody that's looking for the $1,200 or looking for the relief package, yeah, you're not going to get it for a while because Trump is not going to go into the good night quietly. I mean, whether you're for the guy or against the guy, you probably know this about the guy, is he's never going to admit that he lost. You know, I mean, the dude actually wanted a recount because he lost the popular vote and won the presidency. Dude, you won. You don't need a recount when you win. But he wanted the popular vote. He actually wanted a recount. So it's not part of his character to just concede. You know, there's voter fraud. What you have to understand is there's voter fraud in every election. It's just a matter of degree. Um, so as far as the actual proof that we have for voter fraud, the closest thing I saw to proof was I saw an interview with a guy who was a whistleblower type of guy for the post office, saying that he was instructed by people that were higher up in the office to stamp late ballots as delivered on um, November 3rd on time, even though they're late and they're not supposed to count. And the idea being that, you know, uh, most of the voting ballots were Democratic. I think that was the idea behind it. But that's the closest thing I saw, but I haven't really done a lot of research into it. I heard something about Sharpie Gate, which, yeah, Sharpies do not read well, and they're automatic, like, vote reading machines. And someplace, I don't remember which state, switched to Sharpies for a while. And, this stuff. The only time I ever voted, as a matter of fact, there was people committing illegal acts outside the place that I was voting because I was running through a gauntlet of people like handing me flyers telling me who I should vote for, and they had to be run off. I don't remember. It's that was 2004 was the last and only time I voted. Um, but these people had to be run off. I mean, they were run off the premises. But that's illegal. There's always some kind of shenanigans going on with this presidential elections, and we had the whole triumvirate thing going on in the year 2000, where the election in Florida was only decided by 531 votes. 531 votes decided who was going to be president in the year 2000, Gore or George W. Bush. And the problem there was, I believe it's his brother, Jeb Bush, was the governor of the state of Florida, and Catherine Harris, who I believe uh, was in a high, maybe the governor of the state. I don't know. Anyways, she was like the campaign boss for George W. Bush. So you got the brother and you got the campaign boss as like the two head figures in the state where the election was won. And it changed the whole course of history because George W. was hooked up with Cheney and the PNAC, the Plan for a New American Century, which uh, they were planning on um, th- uh, the invasion of the Middle East way before uh, George W. got elected in the year 2000. And it's actually documented online. This isn't conspiracy stuff. You can actually read about it. You just have to look up PNAC, Plan for a New American Century. I could probably find you a link for it, but it's the only thing that got me into politics at all. Is like, yeah, I don't like war. I know people that are over there getting shot at and shit, and yeah, I don't like it. It doesn't make any sense. I was against the invasion of Afghanistan because the Soviets did it, and the Soviet Union suffered economic collapse because they spent a lot of money trying to wage war in Afghanistan against the Mujahideen, which was led by Osama bin Laden. And yeah, it didn't work out too well for the Soviet Union, so I didn't want us to do the same thing, but we did the same thing. And I think we may still be over there. I don't even know. I don't know. It's been, what, 19 years? We may still be in Afghanistan. I know one thing, the euro is worth more than the American dollar. But see, I'm so concerned and consumed with basic human problems like, I don't know, walking, shitting, eating, trying to keep my sanity, that I don't get involved in, I don't use my mind to get involved and distracted by all these information. It was just at the time, like I said, I don't like war. And yeah, most people were down with the invasion of Afghanistan. I wasn't. And that's the first time I started getting involved with online, talking to people online, and finding out how people were online. And I'm like, wow, people are really rude when you can't punch them in the face. Imagine that. They're really nasty when there's no consequences and they're just anonymous. Because I was raised to be a polite young man, you know. Uh, yeah, like I said, I was shocked when I was riding to them kids, and these are young kids on bicycles, and I was in my 20s, and I was like, hey, fellas, politely telling them you're riding on the wrong side of the road because they're riding on the wrong side of the road on Duber Extension, which has a lot of heavy truck traffic, and it's just dangerous riding on the wrong side of the road on that particular road because you can get sideswiped by a car, which has happened to me before, and you just kind of crash. It doesn't feel nice. But that's if you're riding with traffic. If you're riding against traffic and this happens, that's a whole nother story. So I tell these nice young fellers, I say, hey, fellas, you're riding on the wrong side of the road. And one of them says, shut up, you fucking dork. And I was like, I was just, wow, man. Because yeah, I did not talk to adults like that when I was a kid. Not even when I had like a circle of friends there. Uh, yeah, even if they deserved it. Like my neighbor, um, when I would explain to him, like, yeah, the ball rolled down the hill into your yard, but, gravity. I wasn't like rude about it. I would just say, oh, I'm sorry. I'll try to keep it in our yard. It's not like, no, we don't want to be in your stupid yard and damaging your valuable grass by, you know, stepping on it. It's, it's just the ball rolls and there's a hill there. So it wasn't sarcastic or rude or nothing to this idiot. But, anyways, so I'm saying that any kind of stimulus check or stimulus package, and the Democrats had a huge one. I think they called the Heroes Act or the CARES Act. I don't know which. I forget what it was called, but it was a huge, like $3.3 trillion bill they were wanting to pass. And then that was pre-election, where the they were, it had already passed the House, the Democrat-controlled House, and then the Republican-controlled Senate was like, oh no 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 no, and they went, I think the closest they got was like 1.6 trillion or something like that. I could have that wrong. Uh, I don't know. Anyways, as far as that getting passed, if you got this controversy about who's actually the president of the United States, that's not going to happen anytime soon until whatever legal ramifications are going to arise from Trump's various lawsuits because of his inability. He will never admit that he lost this election until the day he dies. It's not in his character. Love him or hate him, that that's you have to admit he's not going to say I lost, and he's going to say fraud, you know, and maybe there is fraud. I don't know, but that's again, point is there's not going to be any like mana from heaven. There's not going to be any like government monies falling on us anytime soon. Us people that happen to be on disability or lower income people or anybody that's eligible for that $1,200 check that we got like way back when. I think in April, whenever the COVID thing was going on. Now, as far as the unemployment rate, there's been like a mild improvements here in Ohio. Very mild improvements. Um, yeah. that was like a big. That's like a lot of the support for Trump was uh, from working people that are like, he's talking about like getting the things going again, and the other guy is talking COVID this and COVID that, and yeah, so Trump keeping things open, keep getting people back to work. That was like this person that I know was like, it looks like I'm going to get uh, full hours. That is, if Trump gets elected, because they're expecting Biden to uh, shut things down again, and you know treat COVID with more seriousness than Trump would treat it. Which to me, I don't know, man. I don't know people. I think I already had COVID, so I don't know. But anyways, yeah, my rent's paid for 3 months, like I said. So I get through this month. I can get through this month without even selling any football cards, and then um, I'll have 2 months where I get to pocket my entire check because I, all I have to pay is a $20, $30 electric bill and $60 internet bill, and that's about it. And yeah, and then I'll just start over again. I'd still like to move out of here and not have to worry about water coming down through my ceiling or live a different life. I would like to get in a different community where I'm starting to feel like not so much cabin fever, but just the desire for human interaction. Like to meet some different people and talk to some people, like face to face. I mean, I talk to people on the phone, but nobody comes here but those aid workers. And it's like I would like to be like in like one of those 55 and over type communities where I'd have a chance to talk to people. Maybe I would like some of them, and I don't know. I feel like I'm a giving type of person, so like I like conversation too, and yeah. But if I'm not walking around and my legs all blowed up like it is now and stuff, and I mean I need medical help, like post haste, like medical help. And then I'm afraid of medical help because they can screw me up worse. And then I got this, the deal. It's not a good situation. But I'm starting to feel that loneliness. Everybody needs people to a certain degree. I don't care who you are. So especially like days where I'm having a not good time, I like to talk to people on the phone and try to have conversations with people. It doesn't always work, but I like to try it. you know. So I had unlimited minutes put on this phone that barely works. But I don't know if it's on now or not. It's not on. Yeah, it barely works. Sorry about that. I had to turn it on. It turned itself off. Um, but yeah. So yeah, lonely, depressed, miserable. Computer making weird noises randomly for no reason. Um, I did catch kind of a break as far as the epididymitis stuff, so I can't complain about that. Uh, I might have something chronic going on. I don't know. I still would prefer to even like it's just it takes a while to get over, regardless. So it could be like I have a mild. Jesus, shut up! Gosh, man, I just unplug it. That way it won't make any more noises. Um, why it's making all the noises, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. You get to be like 52 years old. I'm going to be 53 in December, and you start thinking like, what? Where did everything go south? And then I start. That's why I was looking up. Um, I just want to see a picture of what's her name, and uh, I guess it doesn't matter if I tell you her name, but I'll just call her what's her name. Yeah, I definitely remember her name, but yeah, that's like so. It's like the moment I realized I like girls, or that she's the reason I realized I like girls, because I liked her a lot, and I just want to see a picture of her from when she was younger to see if it matches the picture that I have in my head. And yeah, I'm not like a. I don't sit there and wonder about these kids. Like I know that the one kid went to Ohio State just because I saw him. He was in my neighborhood and I saw him and he had an Ohio State jacket on. And I talked to the guy and I knew that he was planning on. He's a pretty bright guy, the Romero Lamas guy, you know. So um, but I really don't think about like what happened to this person, what happened to that person. I wouldn't care to go to a high school reunion or anything like that. High school being a night, most people whose high school experience was a nightmare, they don't want to go back and see those people. But I just wanted to see that girl's face, just to see if it matched the way I remember her, just to see if it would, you know, 'cause I saw, I went to school with her from the time she was a wee little kid, and by the time she got boobs, you know, so it was like from 1 to 9, grades 1 to 9. I don't know. I don't think I went to kindergarten with her, but from grades 1 to 9, um, and she lived right next to the kindergarten that I went to at Whipple School. Yeah, my childhood could have been really good under other circumstances, man, because I had the suburbs going for me. I lived really close to all the schools that I went to. I used to ride my bike uh, to school on upon occasion, though it was a pretty hard ride. Um, when I went to high school, I didn't do that when I went to St. Joan of Arc. I don't know why, but I'm just thinking like, man, my life could have been so much different, you know, under different circumstances. It reminds me of like my one cousin was like, I could have been you. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, well, yeah, for a brief time, my mom dated your dad, but then ended up marrying somebody else. So he's like, I could have had your dad. And I'm like, well, lucky you. I think is what I said to him. Lucky you. Things could have turned out different, but they are what they are, and there's no escaping it. Uh, yeah, I just wish I felt like I had more options. You know, it's very boring getting caught on just like when you can't do anything physically, and then you don't have the nerves really doing it to. I still like to write like on a computer. Still like to talk, but as far as like learning things, I really don't care about learning things anymore, and I really don't. I still do like research things and like look things up. I guess that counts as learning things. But I'm talking about like I got a harmonica back there. I'm in bed all the time, and it's like I still haven't tried to learn how to play the harmonica or even looked up a video on how to play the harmonica. And I just don't have the nerves for it because of I don't know the constant pain. And the pain also like muddies my thoughts at times and it makes me stupid. The pain makes me stupid. The fact that I'm getting up there in years, I don't think that has anything to do with my stupidity, but it's mainly the pain and the benzo use for like 6 years now. Even though it's relatively light benzo use, it's still benzo use, and it's still been 6 years. So, um, yeah. Uh, but what do you do? You know, what do? You let you you know, if I want to be cliche, Morgan Freeman, man, Shawshank Redemption, get busy living, get busy dying. So, you know, it's like, well, I'll find a new doctor and go through some more shit and see what happens. And just keep trying until there gets to be no point to trying anymore and then opt out. But in the meantime, it's really hard because, like I said, it's not that I don't want to do things. It's when I do things, my leg tortures me, and it's all swollen up like it is today, just from walking around picking up some cans and picking up a few things. And then if I don't do stuff, and I'm short of wind and I'm abusing my heart, and I'm turning into a flabby dude, and lifting weights, something I should do because it's good for my mood, but it's hard to do with a bad knee. I mean, it's hard to believe that it's hard to do with a bad knee because you see those buff guys in wheelchairs and stuff, but some of the workout that I do involves my legs at least a little bit, you know. I mean, I can sit there and just sit on a couch like I was a guy in a wheelchair and do tricep extensions and curls all day and flies. By the way, I hurt my shoulder again. Flies and you know, just do everything from a sitting position. But I want to get my legs involved, and there's exercises that involve my legs that actually are for my upper body, but I have to use my legs for. So I don't know. What do you do to keep trying? I don't know. You reach a certain level of misery, and yeah, I try not to be too hateful about people that helped me along in this situation that I'm in too, but you know, I try to avoid those hateful thoughts, but they creep in there sometimes too. And yeah, and why does everything have to be so difficult? Like, why do I have to convince my brother to like? You have to spend money on food anyway. You would be helping me out by. Why is that a tough sell? You would be helping me out by instead of spending your money spending on food, spending food credits on food, and then they are my food credits, therefore it's paying you back. And he's like, I'd rather have the money. I'm like, why is this a hard sell? Sometimes I sit there and I do the Archie Bunker routine. I don't know if you remember that, but Edith used to talk to Archie Bunker until he was driven to the point of like playing mock Russian roulette. I'll do that sometimes when I talk to my brother. And it's like he'll start to tell me something, and I know it's going to take a really long time. I'll be trying to cut him off. It'll take me a few tries to cut him off, and I'm like, you know, it's like, didn't we have this conversation before? I swear to God, he told me that he did not remember me telling him that my older brother shot somebody in the leg. I was like, how do you forget that? I can understand if you forget the story about when we were fishing and I hit you with that frog that one time. No, this is about my brother probably killing someone. It's like I'm pretty sure I told you that story before, and he was like acting like it was a brand new story, and I'm like, oh no, are we in this phase of old age where we're just like repeating the same shit to each other? Because there's no way in hell that I did not tell you that story. Of the conversation. It's my favorite conversation I've ever had with anybody in my entire life. Or my brother said I shot somebody once. And I'm like, you shot somebody? And he goes, yeah, they were stealing a bike. And I said, they were stealing your bike? And he was like, no, it wasn't my bike. I'm like, what? He goes, no, I was hunting and I come out of the woods and somebody was messing around with somebody else's bike, i.e. motorcycle. So I shot him. And I was like, you shot him? He was like, just in the leg. I'm thinking femoral artery. It's like there's no just shooting somebody in the leg, you know. It was like, at least it was only a 22. He only put a 22 slug in his leg. But yeah, you don't forget a story like that if it's your older. If you're telling your younger brother a story like that about your older brother, your younger brother's not going to forget that story. And I know I told him that story before, and he acted like I never told him it before. And I'm like, oh no, have we reached this stage where like we're just repeating the same shit to each other? And it's like, and just running over the same old ground. And have we found the same old fears? I wish you weren't here. Yeah, I was taking a shower earlier today, and I was thinking about like, because my brother don't have a shower. I was thinking while I was taking a shower, I was like, I was thinking about my brother and like he has a cat now, right? He was going to get a dog, but he's got a cat for a pet because he's lonely. But he didn't want me there for 3 months because he was afraid of me. As far as like, you know, it's sort of insulting to think that I was just going to crash there and abuse his hospitality. It's just kind of insulting, but he really shot himself in the foot because I had 6 grand at the time, and like I was gonna fix up the house, and I thought I would, it'd be a good chance to get out of this place, get my brain, in a good place, and use it as like a stepping stone, like I said, and spend the summer there and everything. But he was like, no, you know, he was like he was having panic attacks just thinking about me living there. And I'm like your brother, dude. I love you more than anybody in this world. It's like I listen to everything that you've had to say. It's like when our mom was going through dementia and you were going through it alone, and for some reason you and mom and dad were keeping it quiet. I was the guy that broke the news to our sister, and our sister ended up giving you relief so you could at least get a few hours sleep and a few hours break from the nightmare of taking care of somebody with dementia. You almost got to keep them tied down in bed because they get up and fall, you know, and they're liable to do anything. So he was actually sleeping on the couch in the same room with her and stuff. And it's like I was on 24 hours call with him. It's like dude, I didn't know how to take that. It's like I'm pretty sure I love him more than anybody else in this world, but it ain't reciprocal. He loves himself a tad bit more, but it's really not. It's like it doesn't make any sense. But I understand, people playing with different decks of cards. I understand that from his point of view, it was like it'd be a radical, huge change to have me living there for 3 months. And, I told him, like, I got a lot of money. You'd be eating a lot better. And we get the shower fixed up because you didn't just need, like, get your hot water going, get your water situation going where you could take showers all the time, not wash your head in a bucket and all this stuff. So I was thinking about all this stuff today. And I was wondering, how if things would have worked out different, if he would have been like, sure, and I would have got my head out of here, and the rest of me too. But just get a different mindset, move back into the suburbs, be able to sit outside and move around. Have him there to help me walk and stuff. We could go for walks together, and I wouldn't be walking out by myself, just like praying not to fall down. It's like I'd be like, yeah, why didn't you help me? So afraid of change, man. Yeah, why didn't you help me, man? So it's kind of hard not to have those bitter feelings. And then I was thinking about my sister earlier too. It's like, how much of this misery that am I going through is my sister responsible for? Um, because it's the CRPS thing is not like other diseases, and like Hope is very important to keep going. Hope and support and love from your family and things like that. It's very important if you're fighting like a chronic disease. Because if you give in to despair and depression, it's like you're on a hill and you just start sliding back down. You start losing hope, and then your family members kick you to the curb, and then like they reject you, and you just get more depressed and more depressed, and then you start giving less of a fuck, and you stop trying as hard. And I'm just wondering, like, how many more teeth would I have in my head right now? It's like, uh, would my knee situation be solved? It's like, if, because that was a huge devastating blow, you know. 'Cause that's like your support system is like the underpinnings to your psyche, man. It's like you've got one of them houses that are out like over top of a lake, and somebody just grabs one of the poles and pulls it away, and then half your house goes and gets submerged, and then your floor is leaning, and you're just kind of like hanging on for dear life, trying to keep from drowning. That's how I was for a while in late 2017, early part of 2018. She's rattling the floors. I don't know if you heard that, but that's a new thing. The floor rattles now when Stampy starts her stamping. It's kind of a new thing, kind of alarming. Um, but if that wouldn't have happened, you wouldn't have got to know me. So, hey, you know, yeah, whatever entertainment, whatever pathos I have transmitted over these internet airwaves, whatever feeling you get from watching me, yeah, I would not be on here. I'm not the type of person. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not the type of person. I would not be doing this if it wasn't in desperation. This all started because my family just yanked out one of those legs on my boathouse, and I had to put something in place. And so these videos are what's in place, kind of holding me together, even though I haven't done one for 5 days. Um, that doesn't mean I haven't tried to do one. Uh, but yeah. So basically, you gotta try to avoid hating people because that doesn't help. And you gotta try to like uh, exhaust all your options as far as getting help. Like Cindy, I believe. I guess I'm allowed to say this stuff because there's only a few people on here, anyways, that are watching this. Um, like she's trying a new medication. Seems to be working for her. Last I heard, that's cool. Some people don't give out the personal information on here. That's also cool. It's probably smart. Me, I don't care. I mean, I care as far as like keeping the gross out factor to a minimum because this is a pretty horrible life I'm living here. But yeah, whatever you got going on, man, if you can find some way to improve it and make, even if it's bad, to make it more tolerable to the point where like you have a few moments of joy throughout the day, or just have some peaceful times. Peaceful times are highly underrated. Like if I'm drinking my coffee in the morning and I'm not hurting too bad, and I'm watching a good football game, or writing something. I enjoy writing on the computer and using my mind. Um, I don't take that stuff for granted, however small that might seem to people that can walk and whatnot. Uh, and then, like, there's other people that are like, well, at least you can walk. Like, this dude in the wheelchair probably thinks that way. But really, uh, yeah, being in pain like all the time, that's rough. And then if your only recourse is to take drugs that make you weaker but remove the pain. That's not a good situation to be in either. Uh, but yeah, uh, like I said, I'll keep trying. Try to get a new doctor. Try to make this life more tolerable. Yeah, I think like all I need is like a knee that works. Frankly, my heart seems to be kind of, but it's all right. You know, I haven't had any major heart deal now for over a year, so it'd be cool just to be able to walk around, not have to worry about your knee blowing up or falling over and getting hurt bad, or you know, being able to work for yourself and take care of yourself and do your own housework. I'm not asking for much here. Yeah. So yeah, almost sounds like a prayer. Please allow me to have a tolerable existence so I don't have to kill myself. Because I'm going to go up to you and I'm going to say, what the fuck is wrong with you? There's other bastards dying. You know, that's how people think. Yeah. Like sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I want to go up to God because I got a few pointed goddamn questions to ask him. Like, what is your deal, dude? You know, I don't think my thinking has evolved way past that. Where I'm thinking it's anything personal. But you do see people, and it's like I was watching a TV show where this guy was all like depressed and in despair, and it's like, oh man, it's like you got a healthy body, you're sitting there complaining about stuff, you know. Come on, man. Yeah. So, anyways, that's enough of me. That's like probably an hour and 20 odd minutes. Um, that's the state of my mind today, such as it is. And tomorrow, like I probably mentioned that I put in a couple of phone calls for. I called back the case manager that's supposed to help me try to like get out of this fucking hellhole. And yeah, I think I mentioned that I put in those phone calls, and she might come by on the 11th and actually come in here, though I don't know why, what difference that could possibly make. Um, but there's that, and then there's like tomorrow. I found her number on this old envelope, so I'll I will call my case manager again, or my care source manager, and try to find a doctor. That won't be like, dude, go off and kill yourself. That's what they're basically telling you. You got to be honest, man. Because if they won't treat you, generally speaking, it's because you're too sick to be fucking treated. They don't want to fucking deal with you. That's what it's like. You treat bad knees. I have a bad knee. You take my insurance, but you won't treat me. Two different guys now. You know what you're telling me? You're telling me, yeah, can't help you because you're too fucked up. You got too many problems. You cannot tell me or convince me that if I was 25 years old and that was the only thing I had wrong with me was my knee, that they wouldn't be all over me and showing me all the love. You cannot convince me of that. So they're basically telling me, like, you're too fucked up. It's basically, to me, that's like go off and die. You know, we ain't messing with you. And it is like it is kind of like a living, it's death sentence to just lay here and not be able to move, and just lay here and not see nobody, and just lay here and watch TV shows, just lay here and talk to myself so that later people can listen to me talk to myself. It's like a living death, and this place is getting to be more and more like a tomb, you know. So I need to get out of it. But I also think like If they can fix my knee, you know, I'll be like Tiny Tim after he gets off of his crutches, man. I'll be all happy and shit. I'll be like Ebenezer Scrooge, you know. After he's done with all that spirit nonsense, I'll be like, that'll be like a big boost, and I'll be like, whatever life I have, maybe the life inside me shall be rekindled, and you know, things will change. Um, but this is it. I mean, this is the one shot you get. So before you think about opting out, you have to play all your cards, man. I mean, sometimes if you only got a few cards when you're playing euchre, euchre is kind of like, I don't know if you play euchre, but it's kind of a predetermined game. It's like if you're looking at a hand, you pretty much, if you're smart, you pretty much know, okay, this hand's useless. There's really, I'm not going to be able to do anything with this hand. I'm not even going to be able to, like, my trump is too low, the one trump that I have. So when I get to use it, this guy over here is just going to over trump me because I have too much of this one suit. Because there's only, like, what, 24 cards in a euchre deck. So with that few cards out, you can, if you played enough euchre, you can pretty much predict how everything's going to go. That is barring other people's mistakes, you know. If everybody's a good card player, euchre is kind of like something you can talk while you're doing. You know, it's like if everybody's a good you can have these little ploys where you like try to trick people and you throw off on the thing to try to let your partner trump it, and that way you can kind of trick the other guy that you don't have any trump, but really you do. I mean, that's about it. But really, look, I'm saying sometimes the hand that you get dealt is predetermined and you're fucked. But sometimes you have options, and I don't know. It seems like the writing's on the wall for me, but I may have options. They may actually be able to do something for me. I know that the road that I'm going to have to walk is probably not going to have rose petals on it. It's probably going to have broken glass. It's probably not going to be a whole lot of fun. But as I said, this is the one life I get, so I got to do what I can with it, and I just can't bail however much I want to and get out of it because of other circumstances. I have to give it a shot, and I have to try to exhaust all possibilities, even though doctors don't seem to want to help me. And maybe if I go at it from a CRPS angle, maybe I find they'll have more compassion on me. I don't know, you know, or maybe they'll be like, "Oh, you got CRPS and a heart condition. Yeah, we're really just going to give you a whole bunch of drugs, and maybe that's my lot in life is just to be drugged out of my mind, like living in this sort of, I don't know, like I said, sort of a living um, degenerate death of like watching TV, eating, laying around, never seeing anybody new, never doing anything interesting, just sitting there, pacified, drugged out of my mind. And yeah, I don't think I can tolerate that because I get bored. I'm not the most adventurous soul in the world, but I do get bored. And yeah, uh, anyways, I'm gonna go. I just wanted to check in. My heart's acting weird, so maybe I'm getting too emotional or whatever. Though it may not show. Uh, that's one thing. Is like talking about it's supposed to do you good, but with me, it's like talking about it just reinforces how fucked I am, and that I got a handful of spots, and that like yeah, I don't have a handful of spots because I think if you have a handful full of spots in euchre, depending upon which table you're sitting at, you're allowed to throw them in. But no, 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 I got to have that one face card. to hook me in. I got to have that damn queen of clubs, you know, to hook me in, and the rest are spots. And I got 4 different suits. So, anyways, yeah, I can sit there and belabor these silly ass points until I'm blue in the face. The bottom line is, I have to keep trying. It's just me. And as far as emotional support, yeah, there's none of that really available to me. Though I do appreciate the positive comments from the couple people that, not that I don't appreciate it, I mean, but I do appreciate the positive comments I get here and there. Or people will just say, their reason for putting up with me or whatever. Sometimes say that I'm funny or whatever. Give me some kind, or they give me some kind of feedback on it. I don't really. That's You have to admit that's not quite the same as having somebody to come over and hold your hand, you know, and tell you it's gonna be all right. Or like, I'll go to the doctor with you, you know. It's like, yeah, you got to go through this horrible test. Oh, you don't have to go through that alone. I'll be there waiting for you. I won't be like that one time that my foster brother, he was like bitching at me. It's like, dude, I know you don't want to be here. I don't want to be here either, but you agreed to this. And like, yeah. And then like, yeah, I remember that trip because here I am just hanging on here for no reason, but this is kind of funny. I didn't know that people had to have a home field advantage for taking a shit, but I guess that's a thing with some people. So we were in a different city, and when I was going to this appointment, and then like, so uh, first you get injected with the dye, and then you got to wait for the dye to work. Now you can sit around in the hospital and wait the hour to an hour and a half or however long it is for the dye to flow through your system, or you can leave. Well, my foster brother wanted to leave, so we stopped and get something to eat. I think at a Burger King, and he's like, "I want to go home," and I'm like, "Why do you want to go home?" And he's like, "Cause I gotta take a shit." And I'm like, "Can't you take a shit at the hospital?" He's like, "No, man." I mean, I'm like, "You mean to tell me you gotta take home? You gotta have home field advantage to take a shit?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, so we drove all the way back to his house, and he got to have his healthy constitutional. But then he goes down in the basement and smokes a bunch of dope. And then like, I gotta bother him. Like, look, man, I gotta be back at the hospital. And then like, he's all mad and shit. And it's like, I didn't tell you to drive all the way home and get comfortable and to get high. You knew we had to go back to the hospital in the other city. And he's like all mad. And then like on the way there, even without me saying anything, he's like, well, I'm not going in with you. I'm like, dude, I did not ask you to go in with me. It's like, you don't have to go in with me, you know. And then he's driving like a maniac on the way there, yelling at people and all mad and like driving around people. And it's like, I was like, I'm buckling up. Like, I buckled up. I was just gonna stay unbuckled, which I do from time to time. I was like, man, he had me buckling up and shit the way he was driving. And it's like, yeah, this is kind of the opposite of like emotional support. It's like you're complaining and you're high, you're driving like a maniac, you're telling me ahead of time. I'm not even asking you to come back in with me. And then he changes his mind when he's like, I'll go in with you, I'll go in. And I said, no, I don't. I was like, no, I don't need you to go in with me. You can sit out here and sleep in the car for all I care. I can go in by myself. And was at the time I had a cane and I had to walk like a long goddamn way with a cane. And I was like, when we first went in there, he pushed me in a wheelchair, because my leg was fucked up. That's why I was there. And I was like, I'll figure something out, man. I'll have somebody from transportation push me in a wheelchair or whatever. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'll figure something out. So, after he was acting like a baby and shit, I was like, you ain't coming in with me, period. You can beg to come in with me. You ain't coming in with me. So I went back in by myself, and I was like, this is the place where I would ask for a wheelchair to get transportation, but I think I can make it with a king. Well, that's a big hospital, so I had to rest, but they had benches. But yeah, I walked a long way on that fucking king. But then when I got picked up, uh, and I called him, I was like, yeah, we did this all wrong. You can go to the 6th Street entrance at this hospital, and like, I'll be right there. He could have dropped me off there originally, but he dropped me off at this other place where I had to walk for a really long way. But I was like, I think I can make it with the king. And I did, but that was a while ago. Now, I wouldn't even try it. Yeah, especially after September 22nd. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm getting with. So I don't want these people's emotional support because it'll turn fucking sour on you in a heartbeat. Because it's nice. It was nice walking in there for the first part of this procedure, until he started looking on his phone and like playing stuff on his phone and disturbing everybody else in the damn office. Then I was feeling self conscious. But it was nice to have somebody to walk in there with when you're facing the unknown, you know. And I asked him, I was like, I asked him on the phone, I was like, look, man, I need a little moral support for this. And I'd like it, you know, since it's scheduled on your day off, if you would, do this for me. And he agreed to it, I was like, cool, not so cool. So it's actually better for me to go through things alone. That doesn't mean I wouldn't like it if I didn't have to go into places by myself all the time and face up to horrible things and horrible tests all the time. Or like I could have something horrible happen. Like I haven't told anybody in my family that I was rejected by the last orthopedist on my insurance. I haven't told anybody that. I don't think. I might have told my. Nope. I didn't tell anybody that because I remember not telling my brother and then telling you people that I didn't tell my brother about it because I didn't don't even bother telling them about it. They don't give a fuck. So I didn't care. So why should I tell them? It's like the only thing I'm going to get out of it is either stony silence or you know, you can feel the indifference or sometimes they'll even twist it around on you. I was explaining to my cousin in Florida how like on the bug spray thing, like how I tore up the $100 bill and shit and sent it to the guy, and I was like, I don't like to talk to her about that kind of stuff because she's way too volatile. And I'm like, here's an example of her volatility. And I was, telling how I was talking to her on the phone, and I was like, I talked to the dude, and we had an agreement that he'd pay me $500 and send me a check when he got paid, and then we were done. It's like I told him I know it's an accident. We had like an agreement, an oral agreement, and then the guy turns around and he wants me to sign a paper, and she's all just pissed off in general about life. So she starts in on me like, "Well, you're the one that's being unreasonable," and then she starts yelling at me, and I'm like, "Wait, what?" I'm trying to get a word in edgewise, and she's like, "That's just the standard way things work in the business world. He's just protecting himself." And I'm like, I finally got to talk and say, I'm not going to take a dime of his money, so this whole conversation is moot. None of, I'm trying to be nice, because, and I'm like, I'm not taking any of his money, so the idea of whether I'm signing a form or not signing a form doesn't matter because I'm going to hurt him worse than $500. I'm going to fuck with his head for about $2,500 worth, and I'm not taking a dime off of the dude. As a matter of fact, I'm going to rip up a $100 bill and throw it in an envelope, and I'm going to put a football card in there and write a letter to his kids to give him something to think about. And then I'm going to tell him through text that, you just confessed. All I got to do is take this, according to my cop on the force of 30, friend of 30 years, that I already have you. This is an admission of guilt. The fact that you offered to pay me $500 and have me sign this paper is an admission of guilt that you did this, so I can just take you to claims court, and I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna look real good walking in there, considering the fact that I have all these physical things with me already. And uh, I asked my cop friend about it, and he was like, "Oh, he'll probably lose his license." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I got him. I, that's way worse. He should just pay me the $500. But what I did to him was way worse because he knew goddamn well the situation was really looking grim for him. And he got to the point where he was like begging me not to text him anymore. You know, I told my cousin that I ripped up $100 bill, and he was like, "Ooh, I wouldn't have done that." I was like, "Yeah, well, I did it." It's like, but anyways, the point being, of course, is like I had my support system is actually like siding with the guy that sprayed me in the face with poison, which I just happened to, I'm only bringing up that old and oft repeated news because I just got done explaining it to my cousin in Florida like 2 days ago. And, but yeah, familiar support or just, a friend. Um, it was cool before his mom got to mention my best friend a couple of times, man. That one time when I was going through like the Xanax thing, he insisted on it, man. I was like, I can make it there on a bicycle. And he was like, no, I'm going to take you. He's like, I'm going to take you. And he wouldn't take no for an answer. And he insisted on, driving me in there. And that was cool. But now his life's gotten very complicated. So, um, yeah. But yeah, that was cool. He's a good guy to have. He's not real, like, he's cop hardened. So he's not like super sympathetic or anything like that, but he doesn't say anything negative or he doesn't bitch and whine and complain about being there. But he like my the best story I got explaining his character, and this is just you're going to get hardened if you're a police officer for 30 years. Is like my nephew was like 15 tops. He's in a boat with us on Lake Erie. He's getting seasick. I mean, not puking seasick, but you can just see it, you know. And he's not talking, and he's getting all withdrawn, and he's just sitting there with his fishing rod reeled in, and he's not looking good at all. And I whisper to, he's over here, and a friend's over here, the cop, and I whisper to him, and I'm like, yeah, I think Zachary over there is getting seasick. He looks around me and just looks at him real quickly, and he says, yeah, he do look a little green. And then he just goes back to fishing. He was like, yeah, tough shit, you know. So he's not going to be like, oh, poor Steve. It's so terrible that you have to go through this. But he will be there to talk to, and he would be, and I don't have to worry about anything negative coming. I feel safe in his hands. I don't have to feel um, any negativity is going to be coming his way, or that he's going to like have to go to another city to take a shit in the middle of a procedure, and I'm like, we're gonna be late getting back there, man. I got dye in my system. I'm kind of on the clock. And he's like, dude, I fell asleep, man. It's not my fault. I just fell asleep. You should have said something earlier. And I'm like, how the hell do I know you fell asleep? You was in the basement, stoned, and I'm up here watching TV with your mom. And then we're like, that's why he was driving like a maniac to get back to the hospital so I could get back there on time. Yeah. Anyways, that's enough. That's enough for me. Hopefully that'll hold you over. That'll tide you over and give you your dose of Steve, your vitamin Steve for a few days. Because I may not feel like talking. It may be another few days. It depends. Because nothing noteworthy happens. I mean, I'm just running over old stories and I'm telling you about boring, stupid things. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. My life is way too boring for me to be an online personality. I mean, I got plenty of personality. It's just like I ain't got shit to work with, man. You know, you, you give Eric Clapton a harmony with three broken strings, man, he ain't gonna sound like much. Harmony is, of course, a bottom of the barrel guitar manufacturer. Um, anyways, salute, live and be well.